It may surprise visitors to know that Frankenmuth was hardly Little Bavaria before the mid-1950s. It certainly had a German heritage, but the decor wouldn't turn Bavarian until the Zender family changed their restaurant from Fischer Hotel to the Bavarian Inn.
We went to Munich. We were in Munich, and the tour guide said, you have to be there. The bells rang at 3 o'clock. And you have to be there a half an hour before because there are so many people there that you won't get to stand there. So we did that, and when we got there, Tiny said to me, oh my God, look at all the people here. There were thousands of people just to watch this Munich Glockenspiel. And he said, if they can draw this many people in Munich for this Glockenspiel, we can draw that in Frankenmuth.
Glockenspiel means bells playing in German, a mechanical clock that does much more than tell time.
We did pick the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, which is from Germany, and talks about good values there that we're feel really strong about here in Frankenmuth also, about, you got to stick to what you say, and you shake hands with somebody, well, you follow through on that whole thing then. So yeah, it's an integral part of the whole Bavarian Inn experience.
At least part of that experience is thanks to the designer of the restaurant's addition, who insisted that Tiny build to reflect the town's heritage.
The architect said, I will do your building if you do it German, Bavaria. If you don't want to do Bavarian, don't call me, don't contact me. So that was what actually brought this Bavarianized into Frankenmuth.
35 bells were cast in Holland and then shipped to the United States. 15 characters and 20 rats arrived as well. But construction hit a bit of a snag. Assembly instructions were in German.
And then, of course, we had to get an electrician that could speak German, because they sent two men over here to help install it. So we had, we didn't know, how can you read German instructions? And we found one.
Just as expected, crowds gathered for the first chiming of the bells. The entire Zender family interrupted their evenings to stop by the restaurant for the shows.
So we had to eat dinner at 5:30 so we could rush over here to hear the Glockenspiel. It was funny. We did that for maybe 2 weeks, and then it got kind of old. Then we didn't do it anymore.
The investment paid off with increased traffic, and soon the entire town was going Bavarian.
Business started to increase after we had Bavarianized it. And then he did a lot of Bavarianizing in the town. He built, when somebody did a new building, he would put those little cupolas on, and they were all over town. So he did spend a lot of money for the town.
But the crowds were soon upset the show only ran a few times during the day.
We had a lot of these tours that would come in, and they were disappointed that they couldn't hear that Glockenspiel in the afternoon. So then we did 12, 3, and 6.
Those frequent appearances took their toll on the players after 20 years.
The figurines, they're out in the weather, all kinds, so they needed repainting. So daughter Amy and our daughter Paula, with my mother-in-law Adele, repainted the figurines 25 years ago.
Amy remembers repainting the Piper and Mayor over 2 decades ago.
I do remember painting the figurines last time that we did a major redo of the Glockenspiel, and my sister and I, we were young, and we got to paint all the little figurines with my grandma, and so it was pretty neat. The figurines are actually quite large, because they're up quite high, and so they're my height, and so it took a lot longer to paint them than we originally thought, because we thought they were so small, which makes it easier to paint because they're bigger.
The Zender grandchildren were able to share in that honor in 2017, and just like their mom, they had rules on which colors the characters had to be.
They didn't have a whole lot of creative license either. We told them, kind of keep it basic, but they did a great job. They were very dirty when they were finished, but they did a great job.
In 2016, nearly $180,000 were spent converting the old perforated tape mechanism used in 1967 to a state-of-the-art computer that controls the movement. The new system may play a few new seasonal songs, but for the most part, people will see and hear exactly what they've been expecting for the last 50 years.
I think people, when they hear the Glockenspiel, it's very nostalgic for them. I think it's the same voice of the man, and we kept the same voice of the man that recorded it 50 years ago. So they hear that voice, they hear the bells. It's just tradition for them, and it feels like they're coming back home, or they're with their family, and it's very nostalgic.
A lot of our marketing talks about gather under the Glockenspiel, because there isn't any other restaurant that I know of in the world that's got a Glockenspiel right part of it, and you know, it's something that's been here for now 50 years, and it's really an icon to Frankenmuth, of course.
It was our landmark. People that like to kind of do only halfway, do it halfway. You either do it all or not. So yeah, I think it was worth it.
Our story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
The Glockenspiel has become so much more than just Bavarian Inn's clock. It's seen and heard by countless tourists who visit Frankenmuth. Dorothy knows it's a gift for much more than just their customers.
Millions and millions of people that have seen that Glockenspiel. And if I'd have a dime for every one, boy, wouldn't I be rich?